Hi, you're listening to the Really Useful Podcast. I'm Christian Collin. With me this week is Gavin Phillips. We're both from makeuseof.com, and we're here to bring you some tech news, tutorials, and tips and tricks aimed at making tech easier for you. We are the tech podcast for technophobes. How are you doing, Gavin?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Christian. How are you?
Well, I'm not bad. Regular listeners will know that my tablet went weird. And I discovered that Samsung now do a door-to-door fixing service.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they teamed up with a team called WeFix, and they basically have got the Samsung contract. So what happened is my Samsung Galaxy Tab S4, the bottom half of the screen is like 3 seconds behind the rest of the screen. It's really weird. So I called them up. They said they'd send someone round. So they sent someone over, and he replaced the screen, and it's still the same.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so he knew that because he tested it and everything. And they have like a little desk and a PC and engineering tools and stuff in the back of their vans, which is kind of cool.
Like an AA tech van.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was thinking the A-team, but you're bang on. Yeah. And so they were supposed to be coming back today with a new main board. But there's no new main board. They're going to have to come another day because they sent the engineer another display. So.
So he got there and it was the completely wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, no, he messaged me and said that he's not coming now because they've sent him the main board, that they display it again, and obviously he needs the main board. So this saga looks set to run on and on. So look out for more news on this in future editions of the Really Useful Podcast. We're going to crack on. We've got a lot to talk about beyond the support or otherwise of Samsung in the UK. We're going to look at the new Amazon Kindle for kids, Google Maps voice guidance. We're going to find out about the new Google Assistant voice. We're going to look at maximizing a gaming performance on a Mac, cashback apps, Windows 10 in safe mode and how to get there, and some great text adventures you can play online. We will start off with the new Kindle for kids. Now, this is a Kindle. It's not an Amazon Fire tablet. It is a Kindle ebook reader aimed at kids. They get a kid-friendly case, 1 year of Amazon free time unlimited, and a 2-year worry-free guarantee, which means they'll replace the device for free if anything happens. It's kind of cool that they've done this. I can't believe it's taken them so long.
It's surprising, isn't it? Yeah, and they've built some nice little extra features for kids in there as well, haven't they? Like it's got achievement badges, so kids get predefined goals to work towards, and you can earn badges when they make progress. So if they read a certain amount of pages per week, I imagine that comes with like a timer per page or something, so they can't just scroll endlessly to get to the badge at the end.
Kids wouldn't do that.
No, they love reading all the time. And the easy discovery seems quite good as well to help kids find the books that they actually want, because you can quite quickly build up an extensive ebook library, and it does get quite tricky to manage sometimes.
Yeah. There's there's other cool things. There's dictionary, there's vocabulary builder, kid-friendly wallpaper. And it's available for $109.99, and will start shipping on October the 30th, so the end of this month in 2019. I dare say it's going to be a hot pick for a lot of kids this Christmas.
Yeah, it was just in time for sort of Black Friday as well. And
totally.
The start of Christmas build-up, so yeah, we'll keep an eye out. Well, I couldn't see much information on the case specification. I imagine it's quite a rugged thing, but I couldn't see anything about it being waterproof or anything like that, which would be quite a handy addition for kids. Although you did say it's got a 2-year worry-free guarantee, so I guess if something does happen, you can at least send it back.
Yeah, it's a bit. My kids have Kindle Fires at the moment. Well, 2 of them do. And Amazon Fires, beg your pardon. And they only have a 1-year guarantee, which is really annoying because the socket on one of them is really wobbly. So that's the sort of thing that you'd want to get fixed, because half the time you won't charge unless you're able to find a micro USB connector that's perfectly sized to sit in there perfectly.
Yeah, and then the more you try and fit it in, the worse you're actually making
Exactly.
the problem. Yeah, it's really tricky, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's the sort of thing I'd send. But I've also got one with a crack in the screen, which I can't do anything with anymore. And yeah, we've actually got 4 in total. And so like, there's 3 that are workable, but 2 are used regularly. And you know, if they had that 2-year thing on those, then I've got to send them back. Just like, then again, the problems with certain games like Minecraft,
Mm.
which you know, fun, exciting, in-depth, immersive game, but it occasionally makes children maybe not behave quite so well when it's time to put the tablet down. Maybe just a simple Kindle Kids edition might be the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we have like a remote parental control or something like that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll move on for that. That's out on October 30th, as noted. And you dare say your Amazon account will tell you all about it the next time you visit the site, because it tends to do that. Google Maps now offers detailed voice guidance. Google's rolling out a new feature to help people with visual impairments get around. This isn't for driving. This is for when you're walking around the street. I'm hoping it's also for people who are absolutely useless at finding their way around cities as well. I regularly go to cities and get lost. I once went to London, used Google Maps to get from A to B, and ended up going from A to sort of Q. And it's embarrassing. And Q, you know, B was a hotel. I was trying to get to drop stuff off to then get to Z. So yeah, this is voice guidance feature. It's a new feature which they've built from the ground up, and it's been built by people with vision impairments and for people with visual impairments. It features audio information when they're walking to the destination using Google Maps. As an example, Wakana Sugiyama, a business analyst at Google, describes how she can navigate the streets of Tokyo with more confidence and comfort. Google Maps proactively lets me know that I'm on the correct route, she says, the distance until my next turn and the direction I'm walking in. And, you know, if you can imagine anyone who's visually impaired that you may know, who may use a stick or a guiding dog, this is obviously really, really useful stuff, because the dog probably doesn't know where you're going in a new city. So yeah, this is a great tool. No, I mean, I do have a relative who would benefit from this, but I'm not sure he'll actually use it, because my dad doesn't tend to go out much, partially due to problems getting about. But yeah, I think for most people this would prove useful in that situation.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great as well that Google have developed this from the ground up, because we've seen often they buy a startup and shoehorn it into an existing app. So they built this specifically with people with visual impairments in mind. It is really good. I hope it doesn't become one of those things that Google uses for a few years and plays with and then gets consigned to the Google dustbin of apps that is quite large, although it's integrated into Google Maps, so I don't think that will necessarily happen. But for something to be so useful and integrated into an app that's on basically every phone these days, most people use Google Maps, don't they? So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this works.
Yeah, I think improved accessibility is the kind of the next playground for existing devices, isn't it? It's the next step into delivering usability to people. So I can't see them getting rid of it really, but it wouldn't surprise me with Google.
No, absolutely. We've seen various extremely popular apps just disappear off the face of the earth. So, but
Microsoft can do it. Why shouldn't Google?
Yeah, we're all massive tech companies. We'll do what we want. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking our ball home. Speaking of Google, you can now make Google Assistant talk like Issa Rae, the American actress, writer, director, and producer, has lent her voice to Google Assistant. Gavin and I both have a confession to make. We have no idea, being British, who Issa Rae is. we've both Googled her and found out that she's quite the polymath. So that's great. I'm sure I haven't heard her speak. I don't believe, but
No, she's got a lovely voice.
actually,
I had a listen. Yeah, 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 beautiful.
great, great. As announced on the keyword, you can now change the voice of Google Assistant to Issa Rae. This follows from previous celebrity voices. There was one
John
in April
Legend.
2019. It was John Legend who he annoys me.
Oh,
I like he's got a beautiful voice. Don't get me wrong. It's just his name annoys the hell out of me.
oh, John Legend.
Yeah. It's like, wait, who says you can have that name? It's not on.
Good old legendary John. Yeah, I think it's quite a nice addition. I think they should branch out and do more voice cameos, and they should give people the option to introduce their own voices as well. Before
Yeah.
we went on air, I was reading about a workaround that lets you add your own voice to Google Assistant. It's quite extensive, as you can imagine, because Google Assistant covers quite a lot of different areas, so you can pick and choose the areas that you want, and you can do it on Android using the Android automation app Tasker, and an extension called Auto Voice 3.5. So it's quite extensive, and I've not tried it, but it does look like it works.
Okay.
So you could give your own voice. I mean, would you want to hear your own voice coming back at you all the time, though, from Google Assistant?
Nobody likes their own voice.
No, exactly.
I don't think even the people with the greatest voices in history like their own voice.
No.
So, I mean, whose voice would you like?
Not sure. I think maybe you'd have to be like quite softly spoken and gentle. Maybe someone like Jude Law or someone like that.
Okay. Well, I think a cool one would be Paul Bettany, wouldn't it?
Oh right, yeah, that'd be quite cool.
He voiced Jarvis, didn't he? Before.
Yeah.
Before he was Vision. But on the other hand, why not Brian Blessed?
Do you want like Brian Blessed to do your Google Map directions?
Totally. Who doesn't?
Or in the voice, in the new voice impairment app, Brian Blessed bellowing into your ear. Yes.
He did an alarm clock app, didn't he, a few years ago?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it makes sense. He's on a new advert in the UK. Have you seen it?
No.
For Ladbrokes.
Oh right.
Which is it's a bookmate. And it's just madness. You'll have to look it up on YouTube. I'll put it in the show notes if I remember.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crackers. It's very funny. So that's the new Google Assistant tips with the voice of Issa Rae. Let's move on now to some of our monthly tips and tutorials, which highlight some recent or recently updated articles on Make Use Of, which we feel will come in useful to the average computer user. Now, if you use a Mac and you're interested in playing games, that's fine. A lot of games are coming out these days, and they're compatible with a Mac. Particularly if you're using Steam, the overwhelming majority of games on Steam are for Windows and Mac, and increasingly for Linux, but that's for another day. Now, the interesting thing about these Mac tips is that if you're using Windows, a Windows computer, they're more or less the same tips. You just need to use the appropriate app. In the case of learn how to use macOS Activity Monitor on a PC, you would be using the Task Manager. And it's basically to keep an eye on the performance of your computer whilst you're playing. Now, that's okay, but there are tools like, I think, Steam. If you're using Steam, you can use the Steam overlay, and that'll display your performance of your computer anyway. So if you're getting games through Steam, you can use it that way. The Activity Monitor is a good thing to keep an eye on, because you can look at CPU usage, you can use look at memory usage, and you basically get an idea. If things are maxing out, then you need to make changes to your computer or close other applications to make sure that all the resources for your computer are focused on the game. Another tip is to free up hard drive space, so there's more space for more hard drive space for the game to run and for memory to be swapped into the hard drive. Disable startup apps. It amazes me, Gavin, after all these years, that startup apps are still an issue for people. and operating systems.
Yeah, well, I only had it the other day. I was writing an article for the website for Make Use of about the Telegram Messenger desktop clients, and I was installing various options to write the article, and each one instantly added themselves to startup. So
Right.
I had to go out, turn the computer off without uninstalling. I think I'd installed 5 new programs at once. So the next time I turned on my laptop, it was like chugging along, and then suddenly, 5 new applications all popped up at once. So even for people like us, say, who are pretty well versed in tech,
Yeah.
startup apps can still be an absolute pain because they add themselves to the list. So if you're not thinking about it and you're not necessarily aware of the issue that a startup app can have on your system, then it's not going to be a place you would instantly think to look.
Yeah, absolutely. There are various ways to remove startup apps from your computer, whatever the platform. Now, the tips that we're going to be talking about, the news that we've already talked about, we will include it in the show notes, so you can head over to Make Use of to check the main article. The tips we're looking at now by James Hertz, and the next thing you do is to disable the macOS notification center to give a small performance boost. How you do that is by pressing the Option key, clicking the icon at the top right, that looks like bullet list, and the icon should now grey out. Click the icon to open the notification center, turn on Do Not Disturb, and then click away from the notification center, and that's it disabled. Now, the thing about that tip is that the notification center, when I last had a Mac, which was going back a few years now, but the notifications I thought was awesome. I thought it was so much better than anything that Microsoft have managed with Windows. And then finding out that actually it's can contribute to things slowing down or whatever. Although saying that, I've got 4 messages pending on Windows 10 right now, and then I look at them and it's mostly nonsense. So maybe notification centers themselves need to, across all operating systems, need to take a good hard look at themselves and reconsider the types of nonsense that they're posting.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I keep mine turned off by and large, unless I get very specific notifications from specific apps. Then
Yeah.
I don't want to know about anything or see anything because I will eventually click on the apps that I'm using anyway. So I don't need to be disturbed 148 times a day to click on every single message. The other thing I would add to maximizing your gaming performance, if you're playing online games, is make sure you're not downloading stuff at the same time. If you've got films or a new Linux distro or whatever downloading, if you're struggling with in-game performance in a networked game, make sure you switch that extra stuff off and it'll give you a few extra frames per second.
Yeah, totally. There's always good tips for getting better performance from gaming. Another option is to play games that are more suited to your system.
Yeah, that's the other one. Don't stretch it too hard.
Yeah. We're going to move on to the best cashback apps that reward you for shopping, courtesy of Emma Roth at Make Use of. It's a good time of year to be talking about this because people are buying stuff for Christmas or they're getting ready for Black Friday or, basically spending money. And Thanksgiving is, of course. So if you're just buying stuff or you're saving money to buy stuff later on, there's various tools you can use. They're all in apps. I'm going to quickly go through these. You'll be able to find them on Android and iOS. So we've got Ibotta, which gives you $20 just for signing up. Checkout 51, which doesn't, but it gives you a lot of coupons and offers to claim. Again, Android and iOS. Get Upside. This is aimed at people who are filling up their cars with gas, and you can save up to 25 cents per gallon with that. Again, Android and iOS, that's for. Belly is an all-in-one rewards card. It works as a reward system for local shops rather than big box shops. Again, Android and iOS. We've got Dosh, which is a great name for anything. It supports deals for locations like JCPenney, Denny's, Forever 21, Sephora. You'll get a full list of retailers by looking at the app, and it gives you the chance to earn up to 10% cash back for spending at retailers. Again, that's for Android and iOS. And finally, we've got Shopkick. So far, this app has rewarded its users with a total of $78 million in the form of gift cards. And it gives you your cash back in the form of a gift card, which you can use in... where can you use the gift cards?
Amazon, Target,
Amazon,
Walmart.
Target, Walmart. Yeah.
There's plenty more as well, I believe. I think it's one of those you amass a certain amount of points and then you can trade them out, and they've got like a long list of different retailers that you can cash them out for.
Excellent. So, do you know what? I'm not really into cashback. That sounds like a mental thing to say, doesn't it? How could anyone not like the opportunity to get some money back?
What I don't like in life is free money. I'm just opposed to it. I don't use
sounds a bit communist to me.
Yeah.
No, but I never take the time to do these things, with occasional exception of signing up to a new gas and electric deal. I just let it pass by. I
don't do a cashback one. I do a receipt scanning one. I have two actually. Right. I've got Receipt Hog. I can't remember the name of the other one, but I scan my shopping and fuel and whatever else I can get receipts for. I scan it in, and the same as most of the apps we've just mentioned. You get a gift card once you've amassed a certain amount of points, and you can save up more points to get a higher one. And some of them have bonuses and all that sort of stuff. So, like you said, at this time of year, it is worth thinking about how you can maximize your money. And indeed, with the receipts, that data is often going to other places anyway. So why not take the chance to monetize the data that the company is already monetizing? At least you're getting a slice of it. So
yeah. How much would you reckon you make from that then?
I've only been doing about half a year, but around Christmas I'll probably have a couple of £20 to £30 vouchers, which is nothing to shout about, but it's way better than nothing. So
yeah. I it just occurs to me there is something that I do, and that is Google Rewards.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
so I've currently just checked my balance. I've got £13.71, which is probably about $18.
Oh, that's loads. Oh.
Yeah, it's my total earned is £100.34.
Whoa!
Over the course of 652 surveys, going back quite a long time. I've been using this pretty much since it was available in the UK. Mostly I use it for movies. Mostly movies. A little bit of music, but mostly movies and apps. But I've been doing that. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, it's a good thing to do, especially if you're going out and about and you've got your location settings on for the app. You can, it'll ask you questions and pay you a few pennies each time, but it all adds up.
Yeah, worthwhile, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. We may come back to the whole topic of using your mobile device to make money in future for a special, really useful podcast. But in the meantime, how do you boot into safe mode on Windows 10, Gavin Phillips?
Well, I will tell you, Mr. Crawley, that there are three main methods.
Well, first of all, why would we want to do this?
Why would you want to do it? Well, the primary reason for booting into safe mode, I think, is if you've got a system issue. If your computer is running into problems, if programs aren't working, or maybe you've picked up some malware from somewhere, anything that's causing your system some problems, you can boot into safe mode. Safe mode is a part of the computer configuration where none of the common services and other parts of the operating system that regularly run operate. So it's basically, for want of a better expression, it's just completely stripped back. So when you come to fixing the computer, there's not a lot of other stuff getting in the way of the say like an antivirus program, there's
Hmm.
nothing getting in the way of the antivirus scanning all of your files effectively. Um, so, for example, you could use safe mode to run system restore when troubleshooting your computer if it wasn't working when you were running Windows 10 proper. Um, you can boot into it several ways. The way I always used to do it back in when we had like Windows XP and what have you, you would just tap your keyboard, wouldn't you? You would
Yeah.
tap one of the function buttons or the delete key or otherwise, and it varies between all computers. Um, but that's actually the third option these days. So Windows 10 has the integrated advanced startup. So Windows 10 Advanced Startup is sort of like the old system configuration. You can press open your Windows 10 Start menu, open the power button, and press Shift and Restart at the same time, and it will open the Advanced Startup menu. Now, this does restart your system in recovery mode instantly. So before you do that, please make sure you have saved any important work you have open because, like I said, it will restart instantly. Once you hit the advanced options menu, you can choose from the new range of options. So head to troubleshoot, advanced options, then startup settings and restart. And after your system reboots, you will have options to enter safe mode. You'll have options like safe mode with networking, safe mode with command prompt, and so on. For the most part, you just want plain and simple safe mode. And once you're in there, you can start fixing your computer. The other method I will tell you about is using the Microsoft System Configuration, also known as MS-config. You can type in your start menu search bar, just type MS-config, and the system configuration will be the best match. Select that, and once it opens up, you will see a panel. It's got 5 tabs across the top: General, Boot, Services, Startup, and Tools. You want to hit the Boot menu, and underneath the Boot menu options, you'll see a little list, and it's got an option to select Safe Boot and Safe Boot with Minimal, Safe Boot with an alternate shell, Active Directory repair, and networking. For the most part, like I said, you want to stick with Safe Boot, the minimal option, and then click Apply and OK. And once your system restarts, it will boot directly into safe mode. The thing with the system configuration option is that when you restart your system from safe mode, if you have not turned the safe boot option off in system configuration, you'll end up straight back in safe mode again. So
Oh.
yeah, so from safe mode, repeat the same process. That's going to the start menu, search bar, typing MS-config, and then deselecting the safe boot option and clicking apply. So then when you reboot your computer, you go back to Windows 10 proper.
Excellent, excellent. Now, there's a bit of detail in there, so do check the show notes for the full steps for rebooting your PC into safe mode in Windows 10. We're going to move on to our final item this week. Great interactive fiction games to play online right now. Not while you're listening to us, obviously, because that... Why would you? As soon as we're done, you can go ahead and play this. There are some great games. I've only picked 6 for this article, but there are far more great games out there. There's The Hobbit, the old text adventure game of The Hobbit. You can still play that online. It's 36 years old, I think. It came out in 1983.
It's
Let's
brilliant as well. It's
just
so
check.
good.
Did I put it in as a bonus at the end, the original version? No, I didn't. Oh, no, I did. I did mention of it. Yeah, 1983, the original version came out, and you can still play that via My Abandonware in DOSBox. But yeah, there's so many places you can go to play these games, such as Infocom Games website, the Playfic website, and Text Adventures. These are all in the show notes, but I'm just going to give you a quick ideas from the games that you could play. You could play The Hobbit. You could play Photopia by Adam Cadre, which is considered as an influential piece of interactive fiction post-Infocom. Infocom were publishers that produced a lot of text adventure games back in the day. There is Lost Pig by Grunk, which is really, you're either going to like that or you're not, because it's a bit heavy on the eyes in places in terms of the language used in the game, but it is a surprising piece of fiction. There's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I love to hate, because I can never quite get out of the house quick enough. I mean, I have done many times, but if I even forget one step, I find myself crushed to death by the bulldozers attacking Arthur's house, or by the bulldozers destroying the Earth. So yeah. Whom the Telling... Oh, of course, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is, whilst we're doing credits, by Douglas Adams. Whom the Telling Change by Aaron A. Reed. And For a Change by Dan Schmidt. Gavin, do you have any favourite text adventures?
I don't like a text adventure. I don't know if it falls into it, but have you ever played A Dark Room, which is sort of a text adventure?
Yes, on Android.
Yeah, you get it. I played the web version.
Right.
And that's sort of like phone. Yeah, oh really? I didn't know I had an Android app. That's quite cool. But yeah, I really like that. That's quite good and engaging. Slightly different from a text adventure, I guess, but it fits into that bracket, I think.
It's kind of a tappy text adventure, isn't it?
Yeah. You got to build resources and to continue the story, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I would go along with that. Yeah, the thing with text adventures, they kind of fell by the wayside with the arrival of point and click adventures. Which again, another game genre which kind of died off. It's coming back, but I don't think it'll ever reach the heights that it had in the 90s.
No, there's some crossover modern RPGs with point and click elements. I mean, I can't remember, the Disco Elysium, which is coming out, has sort of elements of that, which looks quite interesting. You play a detective who's got to hunt down different crimes and what have you. It's worth checking out. It looks quite interesting.
Cool. So yeah, text adventures, and you can play these online, and as you'll probably be able to play some of them on your phone as well, actually. But yeah, that Hobbit game. I mean, I was playing that with my first Commodore 64.
Wow.
Yeah, and it came. But there was a. Can't remember what the name of the company was, but there was a company that would, you'd pay like X amount of money for X amount of games, and they were reduced price, so they were cheaper than it would be in the shops. Excuse me, and The Hobbit was one of the ones I got, and it came with a copy of the book, of the novel.
Oh, well. That's quite cool.
So yeah, and I still got that. I've still got them both, but I've still got the novels on my bookshelf.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that whole sort of getting something bonusy when you. You're buying something like that. These days, of course, kits like that cost like £100. I was looking at one of the new games that's just coming out now on Xbox and PS4, and it was like £60 for the main version, or £105 for the deluxe.
Oh my god! Yeah, I remember the Fallout 4 came out a few years back, and people were buying like the extensive Pip-Boy sets of like £200 and stuff like that. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, insane. So that brings us to the end of this week's Really Useful podcast. We have, just to recap, discussed the new Amazon Kindle for Kids, Google Maps detailed voice guidance, and adding Issa Rae as Google Assistant voice. We've also looked at how to maximize gaming performance on a Mac, cashback apps to help you make a bit of extra money when shopping, and how to boot into safe mode in Windows 10, and some great text adventure games that you can play online in your browser, and in some cases on any other device with a browser as well. That will depend on the rendering of the website, but your mileage may vary, but you should generally get a good job of using it on a phone or tablet, as well as on a desktop or laptop computer. Big thank you to Gavin Phillips.
You're so welcome, Christian. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure as always. If you're new to the Really Useful podcast and you've heard anything useful, let us know. And also, if you're able to leave us a review on iTunes/Apple Podcasts, because that would really help, and anywhere else that take reviews. And we're not only on those places. You'll also find us on Transistor FM and on Google Podcasts and on Stitcher and Spotify as well.
YouTube? On YouTube.
Thank you. And on YouTube. Yes. I knew there was another one. We are the Tech Podcast for Technophobes. Until next time, it's goodbye from us.